Welcome back to my channel. I am Nerdy Figure Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin Leonardo, and it looks pretty great. You have a image of Leonardo there. You got the side, you got the other side, you got the back, top, bottom, and we'll review this in more detail in the next clip. Open it up, you see the picture of the artwork and the actual figure itself. It looks pretty cool. And then, yeah, let's talk about the box in more detail. Here we have is the box in more detail. It looks pretty good. You have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, and with that nice red circle, and then like a flame, and then just basically him going through the flames. And spoiler alert, I think that he died in a fire. I'm not for sure, but I really think it was him and Casey together, I believe. But anyway, so he's running through some rubble, ready to attack Mousers or Footbots that Baxter Stockman released. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. You got some flames going up, him stepping on some burnt debris. So yeah, all in all, this is a great piece of artwork or a drawing. And yeah, just a nice detail, the shadowing and the brightness on his skin. And it just pops. And then you have Leonardo on the bottom, and then a nice red scribble or signature on the bottom left. And if you open it up, you get to see Leonardo posing, ready to fight. And it looks like a pretty cool figure with him and his katanas holding, and then him posing. So yeah, behind like a wall and stuff. So yeah, and then you have the actual figure itself. You got multiple pieces of hands, multiple blades, a couple of his katanas, and an alternate head. And then if you go on the other side, it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin with that red circle in it, and then the Last Ronin's geared up, ready to fight. Then you have Leonardo, number 4, so he's the 4th issue of this line. And then you have these comic book boxes, so it shows him like going to karate chop someone with his katana in his hand. Here's him kind of angry and he's like ready to fight. And here's another one, him angry and kind of ready to fight or retreat. And then you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. And here is basically stuff about The Last Ronin. And they have a black and white image of The Last Ronin too, from Neca. So and then it has that like nice black and white artwork that I get, which is in the back of this box, and then also the back of all the other boxes that I have reviewed on this channel. And then if you go here, here's a piece of the mural, because if you collect all the issues from this line, you create a mural, which is pretty good. And so it looks like you have damaged Raphael on this side, and then Donatello on that side. And that looks pretty great. And then you have Leonardo with the background of the fire, kind of ready to fight. And then here you have is the front again. If you go on the top, it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. Age is for 14 and up. Warning: choking hazards and small parts not for children under 3. So they don't want toddlers choking on the alternate head or the blades or the hands or the katanas, because they could choke and that's not good. And you have people who worked on this box: Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the barcode 033 crossed out, because yeah, you don't want toddlers to mess with this stuff. And then you have Neca and a bunch of other stuff as well too. And that is it. Now let's review the actual figure. Here we have is the Leonardo figure outside the box. But before we talk about the figure itself, let's talk about the artwork. And then it's basically the same black and white artwork with like the red color of it with some black washed out dots and smears. And it looks pretty cool and sick. And that's basically it. On just having a nice red with some black wash on it. And now let's talk about the figure itself. And the figure itself looks pretty cool. You kind of have a movable like scarf kind of. But anyways, you could move Leonardo's head up that much, down that much. You could move his bandana a 360, I believe. Yeah, kind of just gets kind of stuck on the bottom. But anyways, his head swivels, moves that way and that way. So he has some movable head movement. It looks pretty cool. And then he can move his shoulder up that much. He has a double jointed, shoulder up that much, double jointed elbow, and an up and down wrist movement. And then he also has like a kind of like a end of the shoulder movement, which is pretty cool. Same thing here. You have the end of the shoulder movement. Shoulder moves up that much, double jointed elbow, and an up and down wrist. And then he doesn't have much for side swivel. He can move up that much, down that much, but he has like his armor and stuff kind of blocking it. He could kick that high. He also has thigh swivel, and then he has double jointed knees and a up and down ankle movement. Same thing on the other side. He has a thigh swivel, a double jointed knee, and then a up and down ankle movement, which is pretty cool. Now let's talk about the detail of this figure. And the detail is pretty cool because you got some nice kind of like different colors of shades of brown on it. You could see his back of his shell, and then his shell's kind of covered from more of his armor, and then like I talked about before, the scarf, and the scarf with the shadowing of the layered ones is pretty cool. You got lines on Leonardo's face, which is pretty cool. You got some armor, like a shoulder armor on this side, and it has a logo though. What was it, like Hamato clan? And then he has some armor on his forearms, and then like armor on his back of his hand. Same thing here. And then he has black lines to resemble his muscles because he works out. And then works out like fighting foot soldier, like whoa. And he also has like a belt over that, and then you could put his katanas in these like little holes in the scarf. And then yeah, he just has a bunch of nice cool details on the armor, and then black lines on the belt to resemble the wear and tear of it. And then he has like a kind of like a thigh armor basically. And you could also put for accessories, he has these little blades where you could put him there, and it looks like you could put them all over basically. But anyways, this is pretty cool stuff. He looks like he got stitches there, and a nice like kind of brown black wash on it too. And then he doesn't have any knee guards, but he does have kind of these like bottom of the knee kind of guards to start tape. And you could see this tapes are dirtied up and scuffed up with the black lines and stuff. And then he also has like foot protectors too, and then you have turtle toes with some toenails, so that's attention to detail. And just the arm on it, just with all the belts and shades of brown on each one, is pretty cool too. And then you have different pockets for him, and then there's like little bumps on his armor too, and then red tape on his kind of not really like stuff to hold his thing, like a belt kind of. I don't know what that's called. But anyway, so he also has black lines on his bandana too, to show it's like kind of stretched out. And yeah, all in this attention to detail and layered lumps and stuff is pretty cool. And yeah, he could kick that high. He can't really kick any lower because of that. This is also glued on. But yeah, you have a nice attention to detail. And then this scarf is kind of also glued on the front too. So there's that, and then he has kind of like a straight smile kind of, so he's showing no emotion because it's dark times for him and his brothers. And yeah, he has nice attention to the hands as well. But it's enough talking about the vest and basically battle damage or the figure itself, and let's just talk about the accessories. So let's put that figure there. And for the accessories, you get 2 katana blades because that's his signature weapon. This is kind of in a kind of just gray color, really, with kind of a yellow handguard to it. And then there's some black lines to resemble the tape pattern on, or the grip pattern on the katana, which is pretty cool, and it's kind of layered too, so there's like kind of bumps on it. And then there's yellow on the bottom, which is pretty cool. And same thing here, got that nice gray color with a yellow handguard and then a lumpy grip design, which is pretty cool. And then you also have a yellow at the end, so you can have him fight foot soldiers, Karai, or anyone. Then you have a alternate angrier head, and this time you can see some teeth, white eyes. Well, you can I just threw that everywhere. Well, he already has white eyes, but you can see the white eyes wider and stuff, and then you have like more black lines on his head to show more expression and wrinkleness, and then some to resemble his beak-like face like it does. And then, like I said, like kind of like a stretched out mask with all the bandanas, and also 360 end of the bandana movement. So yeah, all in all, pretty cool alternate head. And yeah, this just looks nice with all the detail on it too. Put that there. Then you have alternate hands. You have gotcha hands, so you can like have him grab a foot soldier and chuck him on the other way. And like those hands, you have tape on them. You have the fingernails and wrinkles on them, and then you have tape scuffed up and like lines everywhere to resemble like where the tape is and where the layers. And then you have on the back of the hands, you have bumpy guards basically, so you could not get stabbed or whatever. He uses this for, so he could just have more protection on living. And then yeah, you have black lines all over, so to resemble more detail, which I like. And then he has grip hands, so he could grip the sword or another weapon he came with. And then, yeah, same thing there. You can see the fingernails, the lines on his fingers, and lines on the tape to show where he kind of bends his fingers, and so that's kind of worn out. And then bumpy back of the hands, lumpy guard, so he could protect himself. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Oh, and this has up and down hand wrist movement, up and down wrist movement. The grabbing hands have up and down wrist movement, and so this is one. And then for the last of the hands, you have these karate chopping hands, so you could karate chop anyone he sees. And then you see his fingernails and lines on his fingers, and then like more like textured lines on the tape and back of the fingers too. And then, like I keep saying, the bumpy back of the hand protection guard, so he doesn't get stabbed in the hand because that would hurt. But all in all, this is like a pretty cool detailed figure with a bunch of hands. The movement goes up and down for the wrist, and then for the other one, it goes up and down. And for the last accessory, he comes with 5 of these like dagger knife things. If this would focus. And it's in that nice silver kind of shiny color, which is pretty cool. And then you have holes on the bottom of it to resemble like it shows in the book. These show it. And so that's pretty nice and cool. And then he comes with 5 of them. So you could have him really chuck these at foot soldiers, Karai, or anyone. So yeah, look at all those. So all in all, these look pretty cool. Nice accessories. Now, let's have him get posed, and then we could scale him, and then that will be end of the video. And here I have is Leonardo kind of fighting two white Sinja patrol bots. And it looks pretty great. And you just have them fighting each other, and you have Leonardo kind of holding back two. If you could see, this one's holding two katanas, while this one's holding two katanas, and you can see his little daggers are in the place where you could put those daggers. It looks great. This was a easy, fun pose that I just thought of, and it's great. And now let's do two more poses and move on to scaling. Here we have is Leo with his angry face, alternate angry face, and also you have Karai with a double grip on her katana, and you could see Leo has a making an X with his katanas trying to block Karai, and Karai's in this lunge at it she's gonna kill Leo, and then you still have Leo's daggers in his pockets or whatever. So in all, easy pose, really like it. You could have probably seen this in the comics if it was in there. Maybe it is, I don't remember. But anyway, so let's do one more pose, and then we could see the box art, and then we would move on to scaling. And you have Leo high-fiving his four brothers. You have Donnie, Mikey, and Raph right there. And they're all high-fiving or high-threeing each other. And their faces don't look like it because they don't have any happy expressions, because during the last Ronin, it was dark times for them. But anyway, so you have them high-threeing each other and just hanging out with brothers and stuff, and I really like that. And now let's just move on to the boxes and then the scaling, and that will be it. And here we have is adding Leo's sliver of the mural together. So here we have is the armored Ronin, the unarmored Raphael, and Leo. It looks pretty great together. You could kind of already see on what the mural is going to be looking like already. And that is it. Here we have is Leo sitting next to Donnie and Karai. And these look like pretty cool figures sitting next to each other. It looks like Karai's the tallest, Donnie's the shortest, and it looks like Leo is the middle, which is how it should be kind of, because I feel like Leo would be the taller, because isn't he the oldest? I think he would be the oldest. But anyways, though, it looks nice. All the details from everyone's suits and just basically pops out, and it's pretty cool together. And now let's do two more scalings, and that will be the end of the video. Here we have is Leo standing next to his two brothers, Raph and Mikey, and they look pretty great together. It looks like Leo is the tallest, Raph is the smallest, and it looks like Mikey is the middle of it. And that looks nice. All the details from their armor pops out, so that also looks nice from the show. And they were also, not the show, the comic, and just great detail and all of that. And then, yeah, just that I feel like the heights are very accurate from what it shows from the comic. And so, yeah, let's do one more scaling, and that will be the end of the video. And here we have is Leo standing next to the blue Sinja patrol bot and a foot bot. And it looks pretty great together. So the foot bot is taller. The Sinja patrol bot is in the middle of the height. And then it looks like Leo is the smallest. But that's how it should be, because the turtles are the smallest compared to the characters. But anyways, so this looks pretty cool, accurate, and all the details from the roboticness from the bots or Leo with his armor, it just pops out, and it's more accurate to the comic, and I do like that. And that is the end of the video. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It will really help the channel out. And also, see you in the next video.